Thanks for tuning in. It's the 50th fucking episode of the MMA Podcast, July 3rd, 2013. We got a shitload to talk about. As usual, maybe the biggest card of the summer, definitely actually the biggest card of the summer, UFC 162. That's going to be this weekend in Las Vegas. They're bringing out all the bells and whistles, doing the UFC Expo, all that good stuff. So if you are in Vegas, I hope you have a good time. Of course, a bunch of news to talk about. And as always, we got Ramses on, we got Ross on, we got Yao on, a couple fight announcements. But this episode, I feel like we're going to mainly be focusing on that UFC 162 card. Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman. It's going to kick some ass. Let's do this shit. 50th episode. Woo!
You're listening to the MMA Podcast with Jake and Chris.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you do want to call in, that phone number is 213-457-3380, or you can Skype us at the MMA Podcast. We're joined tonight by three guys I would honestly call close friends. We got Ramses, we got Ross, we got Yao. Ramses, we'll start with you first. Where can we find you? What is the word on the street, son?
Look, people, you're going to get your ass kicked at a party or in a bar. It's inevitable, unless you follow me on Twitter. The Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. I will show you how to be indestructible in this life and get laid at that same party. Instead of leaving in a fucking ambulance, you're going to be leaving with a hot woman. That's word in the street.
With a hot-ass bitch. Ross, you're dropping knowledge on fucking people. The current number one contender on the Word on the Street podcast and Photoshop UFC poster fucking extraordinaire. Where can we find you on the Twitters and anywhere else?
Listen up. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at Ross Finkelstein. E before the L. Spell it all Jewishly. You know what to do. Second of all, this Saturday, new middleweight champion Chris Weidman.
And we will get to that. Ross, you've been a very outspoken proponent that Chris Weidman's going to topple the greatest of all time, Anderson Silva. Everyone's saying that this is going to be his greatest challenge. I'm looking forward to breaking down this fight. And as always, our resident amateur fighter, he will be giving his training log soon. He does have a grappling tournament this month. It's Yao the Truth. Where can we find your ass, son?
Yeah, thanks for the plug, Jake. And I'm just happy to be on this podcast. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Yao_the Truth. That's YAO_the Truth. Look out.
Look the fuck out, Yao. He's up and coming. This is the next John Jones, ladies and gentlemen. The next John Jones at 145. I can smell it already. We were planning on having Mike Kogan on. You probably saw us tweet about that a little bit. Unfortunately, Mike will not be joining us. I was unable to get in contact with him, so maybe we'll have him on a future show. Hopefully we will. The manager of Rampage, Roy Nelson, and Nate Diaz. Especially now as, Roy's contract is sort of up in the air. We don't know whether we're going to see him go to Bellator or the UFC. I was looking forward to asking him some questions, but, maybe when we do have him on, we'll know and we'll be able to follow up on that. So without the interview, let's get straight into the news. I feel like we can't really start it unless we play that fucking drop. I love that drop. All these injuries at UFC on Fox Sports 1, which will be headlined by Chael Sonnen and Shogun Rua. We heard some whispers going on about a month ago or a couple weeks ago that there were passport issues. People weren't sure if fighters who aren't U.S. citizens would be able to fight on the Boston card due to some social security number snafu. And now 3 guys have dropped out of the card. Coincidentally, I forget who sort of brought up the rumor, but all 3 of these guys, Nick Ring, Thiago Alves, and Akira Corassani, all backing out of their fights. All of them are non-Americans. I think Alves is a citizen and would have a social security number, so I don't know if it has anything to do with that or it's just a coincidence. But these 3 guys backing out at UFC on Fox Sports 1-1. I'll call it. What the fuck is going on? Is this going to be another one of those cursed cards where like 9 guys back out with injuries? Ramses?
This is business as usual, man. Look, they have to shuffle around the FS1, the debut show on Fox Sports 1, dude. They're gonna have to make this card perfect. Half these injuries aren't even fucking real. They're just shuffling around the card. They want to put together the best presentation possible. It's gonna keep shifting, as the landscape shifts, people win and lose fights. That's what's really going on here, in my opinion. I don't think these people are getting injured. Nick Ring, you don't want to put that on Fox Sports. Give me a break here. I don't know. What do you? Yeah.
Yeah. To really quick, Ring has been replaced by Josh Salmon, who will face Uriah Hall. Both of them the tough 17 fighters. Salmon was eliminated in the semifinals by Kelvin Gastelum. Uriah Hall was eliminated in the finals by Kelvin Gastelum. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't have it in front of me. This is shitty hosting. I don't have the actual card in front of me. Now I do because I'm quick at the Wikipedias. So Thiago Alves was going to face Matt Brown. He's been replaced by Mike Pyle. Akira Corassani was going to face Mike Brown, and he's been replaced by Steven Seiler. And like I said, Ring replaced by Salmon, in case you were wondering. Ross, what do you think about all this fuckery?
It's a little weird. At the same time, they're better fights now. I'm much more excited for Matt Brown versus Mike Pyle. I'm much more excited to see Uriah finally shut Josh Salmon up, and I'm much more excited to see Seiler versus Brown. At the same time, it is weird that the same week they announce, all the issues are resolved, the 3 guys are just magically pulled from the card. It's a little screwed up, but yeah.
Yeah, what is the truth on this shit? Is this a goddamn work? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I just have to agree with Ross, honestly. I'd like to see Matt Brown and Mike Pyle. I love when fights make sense, and that fight makes a lot of sense. And I like to see Uriah versus Josh. I know Uriah didn't like Josh in the house, so now they finally get to fight. So these fights are better. Like Ramsey said, you're getting better fights, so I'm excited for it.
Fuck yeah, I am too, man. Ross, did you have something else you wanted to add in?
Yeah, I also wanted to add in, on the flip side of it, if you look at Thiago Alves and Akira, they've pulled out of a lot of fights. Thiago Alves, he just fight after fight he pulls out of. And Akira has fought like twice in the UFC, and he's had like 5 fights scheduled. He's pulled out of a lot. And even Nick Ring, I think, has pulled out. Even Nick Ring has pulled out a lot. Nah, he doesn't pull out. He takes it.
He just finishes inside. All right.
Yep.
Hell yeah. we might need a gangsta fag drop in a later episode if you're
you were trying
familiar.
to decide whether or not to say it.
Yep, I was like, all right, I'm stalling. Should I say fag? Yeah, the guy's name is Gangsta Fag. If you're not,
now you have to play it later just to explain it. So.
I
think
gotta
that
play
should close
later.
the show.
He was on, or he wasn't on the Rogan podcast, but Rogan's talked about him a lot. If you aren't familiar, I'm sure we get a lot of Rogan fans who enjoy MMA. Let's move on. Vitor Belfort taking on Gegard Mousasi, or well, not not really fighting him yet, but they are beefing. Gegard said he wants to fight. Vitor says he doesn't deserve it. This would be an interesting match. They probably aren't going to fight anytime soon. I see once Vitor, once the age really starts to hit him and he starts to sort of tank, maybe in a year or two, then we'll see him fight Gegard, but I don't see it anytime soon. If they were to fight, hypothetically though, who do you see winning? Gegard is a meticulous kickboxer. He's fresh. I mean, he could keep a distance and pick apart Vitor, who's known as a swarmer, known to throw punches in bunches, and actually probably was the closest to beating John Jones than any man by pulling off that crazy armbar in the first round. Who would you pick in a theoretical fight, Ramses?
Look, this Gegard guy, I've only seen him fight one damn time in the UFC. Well, that's the only time I've ever seen him fight. It was in Sweden versus Queen Latifah, and as I had to be reminded, because the fight was so fucking stupid, I don't even remember it, Gegard couldn't even finish Queen Latifah. This guy stinks. He looked like a bum. I saw nothing impressive about him whatsoever. Vitor Armstrong will destroy this man. It'll look like Hulk Hogan versus a cancer patient. That's the word on the street. What do you think, Ross?
Powerful.
Hulk Hogan versus a cancer patient.
Powerful.
Yeah, I have to agree with Ramses. It would look like Hulk Hogan versus a cancer patient. Gegard Mousasi looked like shit in his last fight. He's getting another ACL surgery. That's literally 2 ACL surgeries in a row. I don't see any way he beats Vitor if they do fight. I could see the fight definitely happening. Jaeger's going down to 185, as we all know. If Weidman beats Silva this weekend, the division's backlogged because Weidman's going to take on Silva again. So they need someone to fight him. Maybe Chell would fight Vitor if he beats Shogun. Who knows? But yeah, I could see the fight happening, but Jaeger can't win this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, this fight doesn't make sense at all. I mean, Gegard is like not any. He's nowhere close to where Vitor is in the middleweight division, and for him to fight him wouldn't make sense. Vitor would run right through him. He'd destroy him. But so as far as Gegard calling him out and everything, I think he's just trying to get some popularity, going after the number one guy, which is good. That's good. But he'd get destroyed.
Yeah, I do err toward the side that Vitor probably would smash him, at least in their current state. Vitor looks like a monster, and I think he might get his rematch against Anderson, because, I mean, now, if Anderson beats Weidman, and if they don't set up the super fight, he makes the most sense at middleweight. I mean, he just destroyed Michael Bisping and Luke Rockhold, and I heard someone saying, should they make Bisping versus Lee for a number one contender fight? Like, that makes sense if Vitor Belfort was like at 205, but he's sort of been on a tear. Sort of, he and Chael are both sort of in this weird spot where they only have lost to John Jones and Anderson Silva in recent memory. So it's like, where do you put them in each of their divisions? Before we move on to a couple more news items, Yao, your grappling tournament, it's coming up soon, toward the end of July, Grappler's Quest. I'm looking forward to hearing the story of you taking that gold medal. But now it's training time. You're getting ready. Shit's getting intense. Are you ready for this week's edition of Yao's Training Log? Yao!
Yes, I am. What's up, guys? I'm Yao again, here for my training vlog. Thanks to Jake from the MMA Podcast for giving me the opportunity to chronicle everything I'm going through in the tournament, July 20th. This is the most I've never been much tired in my life. Training 9 days, 5 days, 6. It's just getting harder and harder and harder. I'm really excited, looking forward to going out there and competing with anybody that I have to compete with. I'm like 158 pounds now. Gotta lose up 6 more, make the weight. And, I'm just really, really tired, as you can hear from my voice. And, yeah, excited. Go out there, go after that gold medal, and that's my only objective.
Hell yeah, he's going for that gold. Yeah, we are doing a different setup audio wise this episode. We heard most of that, but I think the music may have drowned out a little of that. So apologies if you didn't hear that whole thing, but yeah, Yao's gonna kick some ass at Grappler's Quest. Like I mentioned in the intro, this is the UFC Expo this week leading up to the fight, and Stephan Bonnar is going to get a spot in the UFC Hall of Fame. A lot of people kind of question that. Dana White is saying that he deserved his spot with that one fight, that tough one finale fight against Forrest Griffin. But you sort of think about other sports Hall of Fames, like would you give Joe Flacco a spot in the Hall of Fame because he did really well in the Super Bowl? You're literally basing his entry into the Hall of Fame on one fight. I don't know if I'm a fan of it. I guess I can sort of go along with the logic. I'm not super pissed at the UFC or anything, but I don't know if I would have done it the same way if it was my choice. Ramsey, does White or does Stephan Bonnar deserve a spot in the UFC Hall of Fame?
Of course he does. You know why? Because Dana White says he does. All right, it's a privately owned company, and really, real talk, man, it's people talking about it like if it's like a real organized sport. They need to wake up a little bit more, all right? This is more like Vince McMahon gets to decide who's in the fucking WWE Hall of Fame. Do you understand what I'm saying, people? That's the reality here. Now, Stephan Bonnar, he did the UFC 2 favors. One with that first fight, permanent brain damage for life. Second favor he did was when they dragged him out of retirement to just fly over to Brazil. His wife's about to have that baby in to 5 minutes after the fight. And he's like, all right, man, Uncle Dane, I'll do this one last thing. He don't even know. He's still knocked out from the Forrest Griffin fight. So he flies over there to fucking Brazil, takes a dive for Anderson Silva in front of the Brazilian people, gets paid, gets the fuck out of there. That's favor number 2. They dragged him out of retirement to take that dive. He was throwing pulled punches, fucking wide-ass punches. I mean, it was laughable. But yeah, he did those favors for Uncle Dana. For that reason alone, put him in the goddamn Hall of Fame. This ain't the NFL. This ain't the NBA. Come on. We're not even title fights. It's not even a tournament style. All right, I'm done. Ross, what do you think? Stephan Bonnar in the Hall of Fame.
I think Stephan Bonnar is not a Hall of Famer. I thank him for his contributions to the sport. I thank him for everything he's done. However, he has beaten absolutely nobody. He has won absolutely nothing. He has tested positive twice for steroids. The guy is not a Hall of Famer. But you know what? It is Uncle Dana's Hall of Fame, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants, so I will congratulate him anyway.
Yeah, for me, it's just like, I think they're putting him in the Hall of Fame because of that one fight with Forrest Griffin, because that really helped put the UFC and MMA on the map. So I think that's the only reason he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is fine. It's understandable. But at the same time, I could see why a lot of people have a problem with him being inducted. But like you guys said, it is Dana White's Hall of Fame, and he can do whatever he wants.
He'll do whatever the fuck he wants because he's Dana White. And I was thinking, Dana White isn't going to be the president of the UFC forever, and he himself will probably be in the Hall of Fame. I wonder if they, give him like a special little statue, because probably, you think about it, the UFC has been growing and growing and growing. It's very viable. The UFC could be, still be around in 50, 60 years. It was funny. I was looking at a tweet by Front Row Brian, who mentioned, man, it's crazy. Everyone's going so gaga over the term that Silva's the greatest of all time. this sport's been around for a blink, which it really has. I mean, in '97, Rickson Gracie was fighting in Vale Tudo tournaments in Japan, and the sport was sort of getting formed. We didn't have the UFC. I think it started up in the '90s. I mean, it's younger than all of us, and most institutions, whether it's the MLB, NFL, basketball, hockey, they have players and championships who have been around over a century. So we kind of go gaga about he's the greatest the sport has ever seen. We're only 15 years in, and only really 5 or 6 years, or 5 to 10 years into it being a major sport. It's going to be really interesting seeing in the next few decades who comes up and whether guys like Anderson or John Jones really are stay thought of as the greatest guys ever. I'm fucking ranting. But I wonder if White will get a special trophy in the middle of the UFC Hall of Fame whenever they build that shit, because they will eventually in 50, 60 years. Let's move from it's not really a good segue, but let's move from the Hall of Fame to Mark Munoz being obese and losing a shitload of weight. He posted up pictures. I forget the place specifically he trained at, but he posted pictures of him before he started training for his fight, and recently when he's ready to fight, it was such a crazy change. I'm kind of worried about his health now, because he came in looking not Roy Nelson fat, but he was a little fatter than Frank Mir on a bad day fat. He was like Mike Russo fat in the first picture. And now he's in better shape than I've ever seen him. He's never been totally ripped with a six pack and everything. Now he looks lean and mean. I still think Mark was very overrated when he fought Weidman, but it'll be interesting to see where he really sits amongst the top 10 at middleweight, if he even deserves to be in the top 10. He will be fighting at UFC 162, taking on Tim Boetsch in the main card. Ramses, what do you think about this crazy weight loss shit?
Yeah, I was listening to some fucking podcast earlier. Some comedian, it's a good one, Bob Kelly or whatever. He was talking about Mark Munoz's weight gain and then how he lost it. Apparently, Mark Munoz was gaining all this weight because that's how he was dealing with some sort of depression or something. He was just eating his way out of it. Okay, it's great that you lost the weight.
Have you seen Austin Powers? He actually quoted Austin Powers, I think.
Oh no! What is the quote? Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. He said he was sad because he ate and ate because he was sad.
Oh Christ, man. Yeah. Needless to say, I'm not going to be betting on this man to win anything. Sure. He fucking made the swelling in his body go down, but what about the swelling in his fucking brain from the beating he took from Chris Weidman, man? What the fuck? He should not even be back in the octagon after that, man. I think it took a lot out of him, more than we even know. I don't think he should even compete again. I think he's fucking done. I'm hoping this is his last fight, man. I'm hoping it's his last one. That's all I gotta say.
Damn.
Ross?
Mark Munoz's transformation is pretty incredible. At the same time, what's that going to do for his cardio? To lose that much weight in 5 months and then do the weight cut, he's going to be drained. Not only that, Weidman beat the shit out of him, and that fight was over once that elbow hit, and the fact that he took another 15 punches after that directly to the head unblocked, because Rosenthal, who's now in prison, did not step in to stop that fight. We'll see what happens on Saturday. I'm pulling for the guy, but that's the type of thing. Those headshots ruin a career.
Oh, I just have to say real quick, man, what if, I just had a horrible thought, man. What if in the prison that Rosenthal's in, man, Mark Munoz has got a bunch of cousins up in there, man, just rolling up in the three-side dresses, you know what I'm saying? All right, anyway, move on, yeah.
Yeah, his transformation was pretty amazing. I mean, to lose that much weight, that's like stuff you see on TV, like those trans shows. It's pretty amazing. But, like Ross said, losing all that weight and then having to do the weight cut afterward, you don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on your body until you step back in the octagon. And just like Chris Weidman, he's coming off a huge layoff. So it's going to be, it's going to be interesting seeing how he's going to perform inside the octagon. So I guess we'll just have to see on Saturday.
Is he going to be ready to take on Tim Boetsch? Tim Boetsch is a motherfucker. He's got some cardio. We saw him roar back against Yushin Okami in a fight everybody sort of counted him out on. I guess we'll see if that affects him, if he deserves to be in the top 10 of the middleweights. Is this guy a bum? We'll find out when he takes on Tim Boetsch. You all ready for your July version of fights you're pumped for?
Yeah, man, let's do this shit.
Let's do it.
All right, the fight I'm pumped for, it was between the welterweights. It was between Lawler and CR and Ellenberger and Ho-Hee McDonald. I got to go with Ellenberger and Ho-Hee McDonald. Both of these guys can bang. This is going to be a great matchup. Both of them are well-rounded. Both of them are young. Both of them can finish a fight. And the winner of it is going to be in a very good position to take on whoever the welterweight champion happens to be at the moment. I suspect Johnny Hendricks. Ramses?
The fight that I'm pumped for in July, man, hands down, it goes out to my Thug Jitsu master, Yves Edwards, man. He's taking on Spencer fucking Fisher at UFC on Fox 8 live from Seattle, motherfuckers. This is going to be the best fight of the month. It's going to be better than Silva Weidman. It might even be better than Mike Pierce versus that other bum, Mitch Clark or whatever. So Yves Edwards is going to tear it up, man. Thug Jitsu. They're feeding him some small fry. They're feeding him fucking Facebook prelim material with this fucking Spencer Fisher guy. Fuck you, Spencer Fisher. I'll respect you after the fight, but you're not the king, man. You're the peasant. You're the bum. That's my fight. What about you, Ross?
My fight, my favorite fight this month, no question, no doubt. There are a lot of great fights, but it's got to go to Silva Weidman. You have Anderson Silva, pretty much the greatest fighter of all time. I can't deny it. I don't think anybody really can at this point. Taking on the surging top contender, undefeated Chris Weidman, quite possibly the biggest threat he's ever faced. They've invested so much, it looks like, in Weidman with all these promos and all this promotion. And it's a great fight, great hype behind it, bringing out the worst and the best in people, and I cannot wait. Yeah.
The fight I'm most pumped for.
Correct.
To see my man Frankie Edgar.
Who's he fighting? I think Yao's having some connection problems.
I think Yao's cutting out, because I totally cut the music and he's still cutting out. So I think when he was cutting out during the training log, I think that was his connection, not the music. Are you with us, Yao? Hello. Earth to Yao.
Yeah.
All right. What fight is the fight you're pumped for July? Frankie versus Charles?
Yes, it is. To see my man Frankie Edgar get back in the win column after these 3 tough losses. 2 of them I thought he won, but you never know. But yeah, I'm happy to see Frankie get back in the win column. This UFC 162.
Yeah, UFC 162. Yeah, we heard 99% of that, but maybe walk to an area where you got a better connection or something. I don't know. You're cutting out a little bit, but you're clear most of the time. Let's move the fuck on from fights we're pumped for. A couple of lightweights making news. Gilbert Melendez saying he's coming for that title. What do you think of this? Is he ever going to be a UFC champion? He did challenge Benson, and arguably probably Frankie and Gilbert have been his 2 toughest title defenses. A lot of people thought Gil won that. I personally thought Ben won, but I think it's kind of funny, a guy saying he's coming for the title, like, 2 months? A month and change after he lost the title fight. Like, wait until you win one before you say you're coming for the title, because you just fucking lost, bro. Is Gil ever going to be a UFC champ?
Yeah, man. Well, Gilbert Melendez, dude. Yeah, he looked good against Benson, like, whatever the fuck. It was a close fight or whatever. But the problem is, I'm just being real with you guys. I'm not really impressed with anybody that almost beats Benson Henderson, because I know for a fact I could beat Benson Henderson in a fight. You know what I'm saying? So Gilbert Melendez, he still has to prove a little bit more to me. That's right, he owes it to me. He has to prove himself to me. But yeah, will he ever be UFC champion? Actually, I think he might take it someday if he stays healthy and doesn't get injured. Yeah, definitely. He looked damn good in a fucking debut, and that's always a good sign, so I'll give him credit. But I could beat his ass, and I could beat Benson Henderson, whatever his name is, ass. These guys don't matter. None of this matters. What's up, Ross?
Do I think he could become a champion? If you want to know my opinion, I think he is the champion. I think he did beat Benson, but if we go by that logic, then Frankie should still be the champion. He has the tools to become champion. When they first matched him up with Benson, I thought it was a terrible fight for him. I thought Benson would run right through him. He would just toss him around like a rag doll. He just really had nothing to offer him, and he fought a very close fight, and I thought he won that fight. I thought he won the first, second, and fifth round, similar to the Diaz fight, I guess. He has the skills. He has everything to be a champion. Maybe he could be champion at 145 too. He can definitely make that weight cut. But right now, remains to be seen.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Ross. I thought, what is his name? Gilbert Melendez won that fight too. It's pretty crazy how he just, lost the split decision. But I think he can and will be lightweight champion one day. Mainly because he just doesn't care who you are. Like, he'll come and just, he just doesn't care about your skills, your attributes, anything. Like, against Ben Henderson, he just went in there and started fighting him, like, from the beginning. He didn't waste any time. He's in your face fighting you, and that's what that division needs. So, yeah, I think he'll definitely be champion one day.
Yeah, the one thing he does have going for him, he's not getting old anytime soon. Speaking of which, I feel so bad. Eddie Alvarez, he's been tied up in this UFC Bellator thing. Bellator is making his life a living hell. They can't compare. They can't get the sort of contract going that the UFC can. They're saying they can match it. That's a whole nother story. But basically, Bjorn Rebney is making Eddie Alvarez he's trying to ruin his life straight up. He's in the prime of his career trying to join the UFC, the premier organization in the sport. And Bjorn Rebney is happy to just tie Eddie Alvarez down in court for 2 years and just make him sit and not be able to fight. Basically, if you can't fight, if you aren't going to fight for me, I'm going to make sure you can't fight for 2 years while you're in the prime of your career. It's fucking bullshit. It really angers me. Will Eddie Alvarez ever get to the UFC? And if so, when?
Well, look, man, this is it, man. It's fucking basically checkmate by Bellator, Bjorn Rebney, Viacom, whatever. This is checkmate for Eddie Alvarez. Realistically, it was over the day Dana White and the UFC stopped backing him up and supporting him. When they dropped out, it was all over for this kid. And look, I'll just tell you exactly what's going to happen. He's not going to fucking wait around for another year plus to fight. He's going to fight in Bellator. This is it. They got him by the balls. You know what I'm saying? They got him by the balls. So it's all over for this fucking guy. He's going to fight in Bellator. At this point, that is the best career move he could make. That's in his best interest now. They've turned the tables on him. So, can't wait to see him. Maybe, hopefully he'll get Rampage or some shit. I don't know. Something easy. Fuck it. What's up, Ross?
I feel really bad for Eddie Alvarez. The guy is getting absolutely raped by Viacom. It's not so much Bjorn. Bjorn does play a role, but it really is Viacom. Viacom has got the money. It's just downright dirty what they're doing. What they do to their fighters is disgusting. The whole Hector Lombard thing, the reason that the UFC was able to get past that so easily was because they offered him this crazy deal that Hector Lombard completely did not deserve, but there's no way Bellator could match it. So when they noticed that, they tried to offer something less for Eddie Alvarez, and Bellator claims they match it, but I just don't see how you can compare Fox to Spike and how you can say, oh, we'll give you a pay-per-view fight when you've never done pay-per-view before, and more likely than not, if you put on a pay-per-view, you're going to sell 5,000 pay-per-views, not 200,000. So it's really sad what they're doing to him. They're completely taking away this guy's career. He'll never end up in the UFC unless there's a settlement of some kind, because this shit's not starting for a long time. And yeah, he'll probably end up fighting for Bellator again. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for Eddie Alvarez too. But here's what he can do. He can just go to Bellator, fight. I mean, he's training with the Black Zillions, so he's only going to get better each day. So if he keeps winning in Bellator, it's only a matter of time. Maybe he can build himself up in Bellator and then just get an automatic title shot in the UFC.
Word up, and we actually have a caller into the MMA podcast, into the 50th episode, so I'm glad more and more people are calling in, getting shit going. He's been on episodes in the past. You might know him as Wu-Tang, you might know him as King Ying, you might know his ass as the MMA mogul. What's going on? First and foremost, where the fuck do we find you on Twitter and all that shit?
Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, you can find me at the MMA Moguls. That's my podcast, or at King Ying 90. And yeah, man, what's up? Glad you had me.
What the fuck is up? Yo, you joined in. We're talking about your boy, Eddie Alvarez. Bjorn Rebney pulling some bullshit, basically saying, if you're not going to fight for me, I'm going to make sure you don't fight for the next 2 years in the prime of your career. I'm going to make your life a living hell. I'm going to ruin your life. It really angers me, this stuff. I mean, they're already millionaires. You don't need to worry about fucking this guy's career over. The question is, first, what do you think about all of this fuckery, and do you think we'll ever see Eddie in the UFC? If so, when?
Yeah, man, I trained with Eddie. He's a really, really nice dude. He's a good dude. I think it's fucked up what they're doing to him. I think they should definitely let him go. They're trying to throw in little words and shit in the contract, and I tell him and try to fuck him that way. And I mean, yeah, man, I don't think he's gonna go in the UFC, but I do think he would do well there. I seen him spar with Frankie and shit. I know that he would be top 5 in the UFC lightweight division, but I don't think he's gonna go there. I don't think they're gonna let him. I think he'll stay in Bellator. I would love to see him fight Chandler again, but yeah, I think it's really fucked up what they're doing.
Yeah, it's these billionaires. I don't know. It fucking pisses me off. And wait, first off, I think I just heard a lighter. Who the fuck is sparking it up? Ramses, was that you?
Nah, man, I'm innocent.
He's guilty.
Who's sparking up? Ross? King?
Nah, I'm good.
Nope.
It was Yao, dude. He's smoking that crack.
Definitely Yao. Yao, what are you doing?
I think Yao said he was going to be right back in the Skype chat. Yo, we got our 10 solid seconds of sports. You all ready? Let's do this shit. The Chicago Blackhawks stun the Boston Bruins in Game 6, scoring 2 goals in 78 seconds to take the title. Celtics hire Butler coach Brad Stevens. Dwight Howard continues to shop himself around the U.S. Seal Buke still killing. Aaron Hernandez apparently is a mass murderer, and every cold case in the U.S. assumed to have been done. Yeah! Oh, shit. That's the 10 solid seconds of sports. Everybody on the call just came. All right, we got more UFC, a couple more stories to go over before we hit up Fight Tips with Ramses, and then UFC 162. Lombard and Marquardt on for UFC 166. Wow, I forgot what month the 10th month was for a second. October 19th in Houston, Texas. Word on the street is that Ramses is gonna fake some crazy Vietnamese stomach flu, duck out of the wedding, and we'll see his ass at the fight, being headlined by the trilogy fight JDS and Kane for the heavyweight championship. Both of these guys used to be middleweights. Probably one of those fights where if it didn't have title implications, or at least top 10, top 5, they probably just choose to fight at middleweight, because these are both guys who are probably more natural middleweights, but they're fighting at welterweight. This is going to be Lombard's first UFC fight at welterweight. Who you got in this? This is going to be close. I am a big Marquardt fan. And, man, this is 50-50. I'm really having a hard time. Both of these guys can finish you like that. But honestly, even though I really like Nate, I think Lombard has got the strength to keep Nate off of him, keep him from taking it to the ground wrestling. I mean, we saw Marquardt just get thrown around like a rag doll by Chael, and Lombard's pretty skilled in judo. I think he's going to be able to keep it standing up, and I think even though Nate is better than most welterweights standing up, I don't think he's better than Lombard. I think Lombard finishes Nate in the second or third round. Ramses?
Yeah, I fucking hate even thinking about this card. October 19th in Houston, Texas. UFC 166. This is my territory, people. I run this fucking state. I'm not going to be able to go to this fucking event because my goddamn brother is getting married on that night. He picked that one fucking night, so I can't even be there, so I don't even want to. This makes me sick, man. I'm going to try to figure something out, man. Like, if there's any way possible for me to be at this fucking fight, I'll be there. I don't know, man. Hopefully somebody dies, like, the day before. Something open, like, not on my side of the family, maybe on hers. I don't even know her. I know that's horrible, but I want to see this fight, man. Lombard and Marquardt, dude. It'd be the shit. I don't know. Ross, take the pain away. What's up?
I'm sorry to hear that you will not be attending, but you can still get out of it. There is still time. October is still far away. This fight means nothing to me. Hector Lombard has looked like shit in the UFC, and he will continue to probably look like shit. Nate has looked like shit this year. Lombard is just, he's flat-footed. He just fucking stands there. Nate moves around a little bit. If Nate can stay away from Lombard's power, Nate will take the fight, but Nate's also got a very weak chin, and Lombard's got very heavy hands at 185. So at 170, I think he's going to have even heavier hands. I think Lombard will clip him and finish him probably somewhere later in the fight. Third round, maybe, out of nowhere.
Powerful.
Yeah, the truth.
Yeah, for this fight, I think Hector Lombard needs to finish this fight as quickly as possible because he doesn't know how his weight cut is going to affect his conditioning, his cardio, and how long he'll be able to keep up the pace that he's able to keep up. So he needs to finish this fight as soon as possible. But at the same time, Nate Marquardt really needs to win this fight because if he doesn't win this fight, I think he's going to get his walking papers, and that's the end.
Yeah, man, I honestly think Nate Marquardt's going to win this. I think we talked about it a little bit before, but I mean, dude, like Yao just said, dude, Hector never cut that weight, and it's different when you're fat and you cut the fat than when you're solid muscle. It's a lot harder to cut when you're solid muscle, and I think it's going to be a bad cut. I think he should have stayed at 185. I think, dude, he was fine. He was doing good. He wasn't getting dominated. He was doing good. People just expected too much. They expected him to come in and knock out Anderson. He should just stay in his place. He's still good. I just don't think he should go to 170.
For sure, I totally agree. When he said he was thinking about moving down to welterweight, I thought he was fucking crazy. I don't know how he's gonna lose the fucking weight. Like he's not. No offense to I guess I can't really say Mark Munoz anymore, but there are guys like him, Lieben, who aren't fat, but they're not cut up like Lombard is. It's gonna be difficult. I don't know if he's gonna have the same sort of cardio, having to cut 15 more pounds. Whether that's muscle, water. I mean, you would suspect that when he's cutting for 185, he's already cutting a lot of water weight. So maybe he's gonna come in less muscular. I guess we'll see whenever the fight rolls around in October. Another fight that we have talked about a little bit, but it hasn't been official. It hasn't had an official date. We got an official date for it. Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, December 28th, UFC 168. Who you got in this fight? I think most of us got the same answer. I got Ronda Rousey first round armbar. I used to like Tate, but
I got some lube.
Yeah, fucking King has got some goddamn lube. But, like, really, Tate used to be a fighter I really liked, but now with all this shit with Caraway, with her sort of with, you know, her sort of pushing Kat's face into the mat after the first or second round of their fight, just really doesn't seem like that cool of a person. So, yeah, I'm fucking rooting for Ronda this time around, even though I was rooting for Tate the first time around. Ramses, who you got? Rousey, Tate? Is Rousey going to snap another bitch's arm off?
Yeah, I mean, it's Ronda Rousey, people. She already beat Miesha Tate once. She is going to do it again. That's just the simple math right there. Basically, Miesha Tate, man, she ain't gonna risk. She'll probably get some sort of like tear, whatever. She's gonna tap out at the first time that weak arm is threatened. Let's not forget, it was almost torn off, people. This is just a money fight for her. Just a fame fight, get her name out there, make that tough money, do what she's gotta do. It's the hottie versus the hottie. We're all gonna fucking watch and pay money for this pay-per-view. That's all I gotta say. What's up, Ross?
Word.
I think this fight is big for women's MMA because the first fight was big, and the tough series will make it even bigger. I think Ronda's gonna finish her. More likely than not, first round armbar. If not first round armbar, second round armbar. At the same time, with all this talk about Ronda's striking apparently being really good in camp, that's the word on the street apparently, I'm interested to see if they stand and trade a little bit. Because she stood on the feet a little bit in that first fight, and who knows. At the same time, one of the questions I have is actually if this fight's going to even headline the card, because they said it's added to the card, but they didn't say it's the headliner. So I'm thinking there's a big fight that they're putting on as the main event. Big title fight.
Yo, the truth.
Yeah, before I say anything, I just have to start off by saying I'm not even a fan of WMMA. Let me just get that out of the way. But as far as what I'm picking in this fight...
He's sexist and racist, ladies and gentlemen.
Nah, he doesn't like seeing women get hit.
I'm going to quote Ramses and say those are your words, not mine.
It's a requirement of mine to see women get hit. Sorry.
But I got to go with Miesha Tate. I really do not like Ronda Rousey at all. I'm even ashamed that I even bought UFC 157.
Damn.
You should be ashamed of yourself for that, you son of a bitch. You should be ashamed for buying that white girl shit.
Yeah. So, I gotta take Miesha Tate. But I actually have a question for Ramsey.
Blowing me off like a son of a bitch.
No, he said yeah, and it was pretty weird how he said,
"What's up?" It was the most sarcastic yeah I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
It actually sounded like he was agreeing for real to me, but what's up, yeah?
No, I have a question for Ramses. Like, yes, okay, sir. This fight is a long... It's in October. That's correct, right?
December, right? It's the end of the year, right?
End of the
We're
year
talking
card.
about Rousey Tate.
December 28th. I got it in the run sheet, cocksuckers.
Yeah, that's a long time from now. So what happened? I just want to know if Miesha Tate gets injured and they throw in Kat Zingano, what's the deal with that? If that happens,
she took the money once. She'll take it again. She'll be a good little girl. All right. This time they won't. They'll be like, all right, we paid for your knee surgery the first time. Now we're gonna pay for, doesn't she have a kid or something? We're gonna pay for the college. They'll hit her up with that college money next. That's how it goes. That's what they hit Weidman up with. That's the word on the street.
King Yang, what's the word?
Yeah, man, dude, I love Ronda Rousey, yo, for real. I really do. Like, as a person, anything, she's fucking vicious. But I mean, I think she 90% wins this. But dude, like, if you remember the first fight, Miesha was in it, dude. If she didn't get overly aggressive and like go full retard and charge into her, like, she took Ronda's back, dude. And like, one thing I noticed, like I said, I love Ronda, but I don't think her gas tank is fully there, man. So I think if Miesha was smart and just like Carlos Condit that shit the first round, like just jabbed and backed the fuck up and made it to the second, third round, dude, she could be in it. She could win this shit, but she gotta make it out of that first round. And especially when they're sweaty, it's harder to get the armbar. I mean, like I said, I would bet on Ronda, but Depending on the odds, it might be worth Misha decision, man.
Yo, if that monkey's sweaty, it's going to be slippery in there. You never know if she's going to be able to pull that shit off. Anyone else got anything on Rousey Tate before we bring you this week's edition of Ramsey's Fight Tips? Nope.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, with the truth. What's the truth, you son of a bitch?
Yeah, I just want to say, a good game plan to beat Ronda Rousey for Misha Tate is to do exactly what Clay Guida did against Gray Maynard.
Avoid any contact whatsoever.
Well, yo, for the first round, for sure, for the first round. I'm telling you, dude, if Ronda gets out that first round, bro, like, no one's even made it out the first. So that's just right there, that's a big, like, a psychological thing for her, I'm telling you. And if Misha comes out strong in the second, I'm telling you, that should be her game plan.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Jab Ronda from the outside.
Just run the fuck away.
Yeah, well, shit. All right,
Word.
I'll go with that.
Word, Ramses, you ready for this week's fight tip?
Cue my damn music,
Let's do
man.
that shit, cocksucker.
I got the word on the street fight tips for you people. This was a special request, just to know what to do in case you're ever backed up against a fucking wall by 3 to 5 people, man. 3 to 5 guys are coming at you for whatever reason. Your back is against the wall. It seems like a hopeless situation, but guess what? Yes, it is hopeless physically at first. You have to give yourself the edge, people. It's called psychological warfare. That's what it comes down to when the odds are this stacked against you. Now, people, you got 3 to 5 guys backing you up against the wall. They're ready to swing on you, whatever. They're trying to rob you, whatever. First thing you do, you got to look at one of them. You got to look at the weakest one. And you got to be like, hey, you're that motherfucker that gave me AIDS. And then at least one of the other guys will turn it all confused or whatever. The one guy you're pointing at will be confused. At that point, you got to pick the one guy that's not distracted at all, and you got to be like, yeah, because you fucked his girl, and you point at the guy that's not distracted. You fucked his girl, and she gave me AIDS. At this point, you got 3 guys distracted. Then what you got to do, if it's only 3 guys, that's the point where you attack the strongest guy, and just you got to knock him out clean with that fucking just right overhand if you're a righty, dude, right to his jaw. But if it's 5 guys, you still got 2 left, possibly. That's when you start faking a seizure, alright? Start faking a seizure, start rolling your eyes back, start foaming at the mouth. 3 of the people are asking themselves, you've been fucking my girl, what's going on? And all of them are asking themselves, does this guy really have AIDS? And you're foaming at the mouth. Now, at this point, they'll either walk away, all of them, or one of them will actually go for it, put his hands on you, try to touch you. You have to bite him. Alright? Just bite that motherfucker. That's the move. Punching and shit, they're gonna know that you're just a live animal. If you bite them, dude, they're gonna be like, this dude has fucking rabies and AIDS, something is wrong with him, they ain't gonna want any piece of you, people. That's the short version, alright? And then you run the fuck away first chance you get. And if they back down or if you run away, get away clean, last move you do, you just remember their names and faces. Well, their faces for sure. You just, get that fucking gun out and hunt them down one by one. Sweep out those ghettos. That's the word on the street fight tip. See you next week at the dojo, motherfuckers.
Thank you so much, Ramses. That's my personal favorite segment of the goddamn show, the Ramses fight tip. And if you're ever backed into a wall by 5 guys, you know what the fuck to do next time. Seizure up, say you got AIDS, bite motherfuckers, do what you gotta do. Let's get to UFC 162. That actually rhymed. Alright, we'll start with the prelims. The Facebook card, we're gonna see a couple welterweight scraps. Mike Pierce taking on David Mitchell. I can't believe Mike Pierce is fighting on the Facebook card. That's insane to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Seth Baczynski versus Brian Melanchon. Or Melanchon. I don't know how the fuck you say Melancone. I don't know how the fuck you say that cocksucker's name. And on the FX card, we got Edson Barbosa and Rafaelo Oliveira. Gabriel Gonzaga versus Dave Herman. Dave Herman had to take prelim drug tests. He did pass them. Norman Park versus Kazuki Tokudome. And we got, leading off the FX card, Chris Lieben taking on Andrew Craig at middleweight. Lieben, obviously a friend of the show. One of my favorite moments in the first 50 episodes has been fucking Lieben telling us stories about he and his uncle. He went into further detail about his uncle carving up the deer, his uncle shooting himself in the foot. That was good shit. It's still up on our YouTube and iTunes. Just search Lieben Stories. You'll find that shit. But out of those 6 prelim fights, which one brings you the most interest? I gotta go with Gabriel versus Dave Herman. Dave, he's a bum, and I'm mainly just looking forward to see him leave the UFC. But in the case of Gabriel, I'm really kind of curious how good he's gonna look against Herman. I don't think Herman stands much of a chance, but I think he's still relatively young. He's 34. He's not in his late 30s yet. He's still probably got a few good years in him. And if he really can destroy Herman, I think we might see Gabriel match up against a pretty good guy. He's 3-1 in his last 4 fights. Only lost to Travis Brown just a couple months ago. And yeah, he's fighting pretty shortly after that, so I'm looking forward to it. What do you all like out of the prelims, Ramses?
I've only cried. Listen, guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to admit it. I've only cried once in the past 20 years. And that was when I saw Mike Pierce was fighting on the fucking Facebook prelims of this card on Saturday. You understand me, people? He is the most underestimated, underrated, overlooked fighter in the UFC. You understand? This man fought a war against Seth Basinski in his last fight over there in fucking wherever the hell it was, Queen Latifah land. He fought a war against Seth Basinski. He beat that man. He won. He was out on his fucking feet with a broken orbital concussion. He was out on his feet and he still defeated that tall-ass piece of shit Basinski. And now what is he doing? He's fighting he's fighting again on the Facebook prelims. And the other Facebook prelims is Seth Basinski, the guy he defeated. He's still on that fucking level, even though he beat his ass. It's disgusting. All right, that's all I have to say about that. Ross, take it away, man. I'm sorry, people.
It's absolutely, he's 100% right. It is absolutely disgusting that Mike Pierce, a guy who is basically like undefeated in the UFC with the exception of a couple of questionable decisions. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. He's knocking motherfuckers out sometimes. He's raping them the other times. This guy is a top 10 welterweight who's not getting respect at all. I'm excited to see him fight. I want to see the Gonzaga-Herman fight, and I'm not excited for it. I just want to see it happen, so one of them will leave, because the loser of this is surely to get cut. Other than that, the prelims are pretty good, but there's nothing like big on the prelims. Before they had Munoz-Boch on the prelims, which was the big fight, but now the biggest fight there is either Gonzaga-Herman or no, it is Gonzaga-Herman, because you can't really. I mean, Lieben's a big name too, but Andrew Craig, who the fuck's he? So yeah, Gonzaga-Herman's the big fight on the prelims, but look out for Mike Pierce.
Yeah, the truth.
Thanks.
I'm high as fuck.
I gotta go with Gonzaga-Herman. This fight is gonna be funny. I mean, if you look at Dave Herman's last fight with the whole jiu-jitsu doesn't work thing, I think that was his last fight. If you look at that fight, it was kind of funny. So Gabriel Gonzaga has very good jiu-jitsu. So I'm looking to see if he's gonna get submitted again, or if he's even gonna say jiu-jitsu doesn't work. Hopefully he says that so Gabriel can submit him and it's funny again. But yeah, that's the fight I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the fight I'm looking forward to the most on the prelim, definitely Chris Lieben versus Andrew Craig. I'm a big fan of like the way Lieben fights, but I think that dude, Andrew Craig is no joke, man. I'm telling you, this kid he's legit. I think he takes it. And to touch on what Jake was saying, yeah. I think that dude, I think you're counting out Herman, man. I think Herman takes this for sure, man. I think he uses his wrestling. I don't think Gonzaga is going to be able to submit him. And this ain't the same Gonzaga like 10 years ago, bro. So I think Herman takes his shit.
For sure, yeah. Let's move past the prelims. Let's start talking about these main card fights. I want to start out with Cub Swanson against Dennis Seaver. I like this fight a lot. Seaver has an impressive what's the word I'm looking for? He's got an impressive resume at featherweight. The guy moved to featherweight in 2012, defeated Diego Nunez and Nam Phan. Before that, at lightweight, he was 4-1 in his last 5. Has only lost to Donald Cerrone, that first round rear naked choke at UFC 137. He's taking on a Cub Swanson, who's on a goddamn tear, though. He's just beaten 4 pretty good featherweights. Roop, Pearson, Oliveira, and Poirier. None of those guys are slouches. He finished all of them except Poirier. I think Cub could maybe be a fight away from a title shot if he beats Dennis Seaver in this. Cub has just, if this was the Cub of even a year or two ago against Seaver of a year or two ago, I would pick Seaver. But, Seaver's a little bit older, and Cub is evolving. He's getting so much better. I really hope he fights Jose Aldo again. I think it's probably a guarantee that it'll last longer than 8 seconds this time, and he might actually be able to put up a fight. Ramses?
Look, I'm not even going to lie to you people. These guys are both bums to me. I don't care what happens to them in this fight or in this life. If they were here right now, I'd pour hot coffee all over them. What's up, Ross?
Pour hot coffee on them. I would not pour hot coffee on them, especially Cub Swanson, because I would be scared to get overhand left or overhand right straight to the face and drop right then and there. I think Dennis Seaver is a tad bit overrated. I think he's a great fighter and all, but I do think he's a tad bit overrated. I don't think beating Diego Nunez and then Nam Phan puts you in Cub Swanson's class. I think Cub Swanson and Ricardo Lamas are the 2 best featherweights in the division right now outside of Jose Aldo. And Frankie too, but Frankie's got to win a fight in the division first. I think Cub Swanson's resume is so much better. He's Roop, what is it? Roop and then Pearson and then Poirier, just those names alone, they beat Diego Nunez and Nam Phan, and I think Cub gets it done. I don't think Cub knocks him out, but I think Cub takes the decision.
Yeah, the truth. Yeah, the truth. Yeah, the truth.
Yeah, this fight just doesn't make sense to me. From the first time I saw it, it just really didn't make sense. Dennis Seaver fighting Cub Swanson is ridiculous. Cub Swanson should be fighting, one of these, like right now what you have in the featherweight division, what's really holding on is Chad Mendes, Ricardo Lamas, Korean Zombie, and Cub Swanson and Frankie Edgar and the champion. So he shouldn't be fighting Dennis Seaver. Dennis Seaver should be fighting a guy like Clay Guida or something like that. I don't know why they put the Chad Mendes fight together with Clay Guida. Chad should be fighting somebody like Cub Swanson. But, whatever they got to do. So Cub Swanson should win this fight impressively. And like Jake said, he's probably a win away from a title shot or whatever. But at the same time, I got to go against him because he is a Greg Jackson fighter.
Yeah, man. Well, wasn't Cub supposed to fight Frankie this card? But something happened or some shit? Anyone know?
Frankie. First. Sorry, you can explain it. I was going to say first it was going to be Lamas and Chan Sung Jung, and then Chan Sung Jung got pulled out to face Aldo, so Lamas just got pulled out of the card. But I think Edgar was originally supposed to face Oliveira.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. What happened was Frankie and Cub were originally going to take the main event spot after Johnson and Moraga was pulled from the TUF 17 finale. They were going to take the main event spot. They wanted a 5-round featherweight bout, but Frankie didn't take the fight.
Oh, all right. Yeah, but I'm going with Seaver, man. I think Cub could definitely win it, and he definitely improved, but I just think that Seaver, dude, is impressive. And, I think Ross was saying that Swanson's resume is better. Dude, I disagree completely. Besides fucking Cowboy, I mean, who the fuck? He went to a decision with Gray Maynard. It was like 08, 09, but I mean, I'm still going towards Seaver. But like I said, it's a toss-up. I could see Cub definitely winning, but I'm going with Seaver.
All right, we got 3 middleweight and 2 featherweight fights on this main card. The first middleweight bout we're going to see is Mark Munoz taking on Tim Boetsch. And we're kind of going to figure out where both guys are in the division. Both of them are coming off of a loss. Mark Munoz to Chris Weidman about exactly a year ago. And Tim Boetsch to Costa Philippou at the end of the year card in 2012, so about 6 months ago. Whoever loses is going to be out of the top 10 of the middleweights and is going to be much, much, much further away from that title than they were just about a year ago. Weidman destroyed Mark Munoz, who in my opinion was very overrated when he fought him. Costa Philippou also finished Tim Boetsch. I do have Boetsch winning this. I look at Mark's record and I sort of think, who is Mark beat? That's one of the first questions I ask. Who is this dude beat? He beat Lieben, which is semi-impressive. Lieben's not an easy guy to beat, especially finish. He had got a TKO via corner stoppage at UFC 138 in England. He beat Mai at middleweight, but Mai at middleweight I don't think was very effective. Dalloway, Simpson, Grove, I don't think he's really beaten any one of Boetsch's status. Boetsch has beaten guys like Lombard and Yushin Okami. Both of those wins alone, I say Boetsch gets the job done. I don't know if he finishes it. I don't know if it goes to a UD, but I think Boetsch gets the job done. So redneck judo in the house. Ramses?
Stop the fight. Come on, people. Mark Munoz has been, let's face it, he's been out with brain damage for over a year. Brain damage. And now he's signed up for more, man. Tim Boetsch, give me a fucking break. Stop the fight. Don't let it happen. That's all I have to say. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out like Rocky IV style and Mark Munoz is fucking Apollo Creed. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Ross, what's up?
I don't say stop the fight yet. We have to see how it plays out first, but he definitely did take way too much damage in that fight with Weidman. Weidman landed 15 unanswered punches. The fight should have been stopped pretty much after the elbow. I think if Mark wants to win this fight, he needs to get him down fast and just land those fucking Donkey Kong punches, and he has to finish Tim Boetsch with strikes in the first, because Tim Boetsch has power, and you saw what he did to Yushin Okami. If he connects on Mark Munoz, who didn't have the best chin before that, now he's probably got no chin whatsoever. If he takes one punch, it's over.
Yow the truth, yow the truth, yow, 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 yow.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Ross. Oh my god, I don't even know this guy's name. Mark Munoz. He needs to finish this fight as soon as possible. And I say that mainly because of this whole weight cut thing. Not even just the weight cut, but he had gained so many pounds, like, during his time off. So he's dealing with that, and then he has to do the weight cut as well. So he needs to get in there and get out as soon as possible, just so his body can get a little more acclimated to, the whole weight cut thing again.
Yeah, man, I can't believe that Munoz is the favorite right now. He's negative, he's minus 135. That fucking blows my mind after the layoff and everything, the weight game. But I don't know, man. I think Boetsch could definitely knock him out or catch him. But if he doesn't, I could see Munoz winning the decision. I mean, it's a close fight. I really wouldn't bet on it, but like y'all just said, that weight, dude, that like he had to cut all that weight. He was that heavy. He was like 100. He was like 260 when he started his camp. So he had to lose all that weight in camp, and that's a motherfucker. So I wouldn't be surprised if Boetsch won it. I don't know. It's also
for sure, yeah. Another middleweight fight on the card: Tim Kennedy and Roger Lopez. His name's not Roger Gracie; it's Gomez. Roger Gomez taking on Tim Kennedy. Both of these guys are, guys trying to prove themselves, make a name for themselves. Gracie is looking to get that signature win on his record. He really hasn't beaten anyone sans, Keith Jardine, Trevor Prangley, Kevin Randleman. Tim Kennedy has a couple couple wins on his record, but really when he's faced top guys, Luke Rockhold and Jacare, they've beaten him. They haven't finished him though, and I think that's going to be very important. Tim has never been subbed, but Roger Gomez, whatever the fuck you want to call him, he is incredible at jiu-jitsu. He's rolled with guys and beaten grapplers like Robert Drysdale, Jacare, a slew of guys in tournaments. He's won a fuck ton of gold medals at the World Championships and the ADCCs. I think there's a chance he gets the sub, but I'm leaning toward Tim Kennedy on this one, mainly because I'm a racist and he's white. No, mainly because he just has shown an unwillingness to get subbed. He has an iron chin. I think it's going to go to the judges, and I think that's really going to go into Kennedy's favor. Ramses.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for Tim Kennedy. He's from my hometown of Austin, Texas, where I'm broadcasting live from right now. So yeah, I'll go with Tim Kennedy. Even though I got to say, people, just full disclosure, I whooped his ass a few times. I've a tangle with him, rolled around, sparred, whatever, knocked him out, got in the submissions and whatnot. But I'll still go for him. I got to go for the hometown boy and the Roger Gracie. Come on, I heard he isn't even a real Gracie. It's just a fake name.
Yeah, his last name's Gomez.
Yep. What's up, Ross?
Powerful.
I agree. I think Roger Gomez doesn't really have much to offer other than his jiu-jitsu game. He's not a striker at all. Tim Kennedy's got some striking. I don't think Tim should try and wrestle this. He should keep it on the feet strictly if he tries to wrestle him. Roger Gracie is a world-class black belt. He's on the highest level. He's been in Abu Dhabi championships. He's been in world championships. He's the man when it comes to jiu-jitsu. But striking, he's nothing. Tim Kennedy's got something. Tim Kennedy should take this fight by decision.
Yeah, you're telling us in the Skype chat, you don't want to talk about this. Does this fight bore the shit out of you? Do you not know either guy? Why don't you want to talk about Kennedy versus Gomez? This bitch doesn't even want to talk. King Ying. He really meant it when he said he wanted to be skipped. He won't even go into why he wants to be skipped. Shit. King.
Yeah, man, I'm going with Kennedy. I think that he definitely.
No, I'm sorry. I had a
now you're good. What's up?
He had to what? Slap a hoe?
Yeah, I had a connection issue. Apologize.
Oh yeah, go man. It's all you, Tim Kennedy.
Yeah, only really did. Not only do I not know who these guys are, I didn't even know they were fighting on the card, and that's why I wanted to be skipped.
I believe him.
All right,
What's up, King?
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I'm going Tim Kennedy. I think that if he loses this, he's a fucking idiot. Like if he tries to take Roger down in the first round, is the only way he can lose this fight. Roger Gracie's stand up is fucking atrocious. Like they said, he'd been working on it, but even that, like he looked like fucking Gracie in UFC 1 with his stand up. Dude, he's terrible. And Tim Kennedy should be able to keep his stand in, piece him up. Then in the later rounds, take him down, grind him out. So I'm going Tim Kennedy definitely.
He's going with Kennedy. I think most of us are going with Kennedy. Let's move to the co-main event. Frankie Edgar and Charles Oliveira. Frankie Edgar being the favorite on this one. Charles, he's in his last 6 fights, he's got 2 wins, 3 losses, and a no contest against Nick Lentz. Frankie Edgar has lost his last 3, but one was a very questionable split decision loss to Benson Henderson, the other 2 to the champions. This is actually his first non-championship fight since 2009. His last 7 fights were championship fights, 6 at lightweight and 1 at featherweight. Now he's stepping down to fight Charles Oliveira, like I like to call him, Charlos Oliveira, UFC 162, the co-main event. Edgar Oliveira, who you got?
Oh man, Frankie Edgar, dude, he's gonna have to. I'm just being real. He's at bum status right now for me. He's gonna have to prove himself. He has to prove himself, man. Too many losses, the fucking title fights or whatever. But He's got to show me something now, man. He's got to get a devastating win over this bum that they're throwing at him. I don't even know who this fucking other guy is. Chuck Ali, man. I don't even fucking know, man. So if Frankie Edgar doesn't fucking cancel this guy, like put him in the fucking mental hospital, like he's got to. I want to see some Mark Munoz type shit going on to this fucking Charles Oliveira's skull, dude. If Frankie don't show me that, man, I'm not gonna believe in him anymore. He's got to give me a reason. What's the word on the street, Ross?
What's the word on the street? The word on the street is that Frankie Edgar is going to win this fight pretty handily. He's going to knock him out probably in the first round. Charles Oliveira, I made some statements. I called his stand-up atrocious. It's not atrocious. It's just not great. It's not Frankie Edgar's boxing. Not at all. He's got fantastic jiu-jitsu, but Frankie's not stupid. He's not going to take this to the ground. He's going to keep this on the feet. He's going to knock him out. And he's got 3 rounds to do it, so, yeah.
What's the truth, Yao?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this fight. I'm actually more excited for this than I am for the main event. Frankie is one of my favorite fighters, probably even my second favorite after George St. Pierre. But I'm excited to see him get back in the win column. He should win this fight. I'm not going to say he is, but he should win this fight. He should win this fight impressively, too. I'm really looking forward to him attacking Charles Oliveira's body. You know, he's very tall, and we saw Chad Mendez use, attacks to the body against, what is his name, Cody McKenzie. So I think Frankie should employ, or will employ, the same game plan that he did, and just attack his body, rip to the head, and finish him.
What up, King Yang? Are you alright? Did you just, get stung by a scorpion or something? King Ying, are you with us? Earth to King Ying.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
I don't know what the fuck just happened. But, yeah, man. Look, listen. Frankie Edgar should still be champion at 155. He got fucked. You could say he's not finishing his opponents, but look at who the fuck he's fighting. Creme de la creme, the top of the fucking weight class. He's going to steamroll through this bum. This isn't even, I would bet my mortgage, my life, everything. Frankie Edgar murders this motherfucker. He finishes him inside the distance. Not even a question. Not even debatable. This is going to be a slaughter.
Damn, powerful opinion from King Ying on Edgar versus Charles Oliveira. We will get to Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman to wrap it up. But first and foremost, we got to deal with the stat of the day.
Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Here comes the stat of the day!
I'm just gonna start naming records that Anderson Silva has. 16 straight wins, 11 knockouts, 14 stoppage victories, 12 fight night bonuses, 7 knockout of the night bonuses, the highest striking accuracy in history, 17 total knockdowns. He's the greatest ever.
Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Here comes the stat!
That farting noise really added to it. Alright, middleweight championship. You son of a bitch. Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. I definitely want to go around the table a few times because there are a lot of little things to start off. But let's start off with just, the question we've posed in every fight. Who you got in this one? We've talked about it ad nauseum before. Ramsey says it's going to be a work. There's no way the UFC lets Chris win. Ross is saying Chris wins it. I'm saying it's not going to be a work and Anderson wins it. I do agree. Chris Weidman offers Anderson a very tough threat to sort of word it. I forget who sort of worded it like this, but they sort of were calling Chris a Chael 2.0, a Chael that not only could take down Anderson, but could keep up with Anderson's jiu-jitsu, not get submitted, maybe even submit Anderson himself once he takes him down. He has crisp stand-up. We saw that elbow he threw on Mark Munoz that was fucking devastating. I think, look, I do think that Weidman and Sonnen are the two toughest guys that Anderson's fought in recent memory. In which order, I'm not sure. But Weidman's going to be a threat, and I do want to give him more credit, but Anderson Silva is Anderson Silva, and I'm not picking against the guy. I don't think it's going to be a work. I think the first round, Anderson sort of sizes him up. Maybe Weidman gets a crack or two in. Maybe he takes him down. But I have an Anderson Silva second round TKO. And until he loses, I'm not going to take anybody over Anderson Silva, including John Jones. Ramses?
Look, people.
Spark it up, son.
There's one thing you got to understand. Look, you know me as a conspiracy theorist. Yes, it is going to be a work. But if I'm going to just put it out there, I know you guys are just going to laugh and just not believe me again, even though I've been right every single time. But, look, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all out, people. Might as well make it ridiculous, right? If you're not going to believe me anyway. Zuffa has a weather modification device that they have a prototype of this. Approximately a year and a half ago, they actually caused Hurricane Sandy, which devastated Chris Weidman's home, leaving him and his newborn baby and his wife, his beautiful young wife, with their new marriage, leaving them put him out to pasture, nothing left, man. So they knew this was coming. They knew he was the next contender, people. You gotta put him over a barrel, people. That was the Zuffa game plan from day one. They knew he was gonna fight Silva, but they know he can't beat Silva. You gotta give this guy a reason to take a dive. You gotta turn his life upside down. He went from being the youngest contender with a new family, new baby, to, oh my God, you don't even have a fucking house, you gotta pay for this and that. Oh, and guess what? Your sparring partner, we paid him $100 and he fucked up your shoulder. Now you need surgery, son. Now you're out a year without a paycheck, son. What are you gonna do now? You gotta take a dive to Anderson Silva. That's exactly what's gonna happen on Saturday night. And I'm sorry for you, Chris Weidman. I'm sorry for all the Weidman fans. If it were up to him, he would win. He could win. Anderson Silva is a bum. Even I could whoop his ass, alright? I'm talking even worse than those other two fools whose names I won't mention again. It's all over, people. Chris Weidman's already taken a dive. He's already learned how to fall gracefully. He actually thanked them. He thanked them when they offered him the money to take the dive, alright? That's how bad they had this guy over the coals. That's the word on the street. Silva will take a dive, Weidman will take a dive. It's probably going to be a knee, and then a TKO follow-up. That's the word on the street. Ross, I'm sure you disagree.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do not say this often, and I will not say it often, but for once I can finally tell you that Hamzis over here is an idiot.
Powerful.
He knows nothing about the Weidman family. He doesn't know jack shit about them. I know plenty about them. The Weidmans are not starving for cash. Son. They're not starving for a home. They're not in any bad position whatsoever. They weren't devastated to the point where they were homeless with nothing and they've got no money and nothing. Sure, their house was completely ruined, but they're up and running and they're fine.
Is there a chance? Is there a chance that the family you think is the Weidman family are really plants put in by Zuffa LLC to sort of take away the suspicion from friends of the Weidman family?
No, because
we are pretty sure that both of the Fertitta brothers have cloned one another. They may have cloned the Weidman parents.
Can I get back to my point? This isn't you guys' time. No offense. It is your show, but this is my portion.
It's all my time, cocksucker!
I've known the Weidman family before Chris was in the UFC. So no, they're not clones. So
fancy boy.
Chris, shut the fuck up. Chris is going to put the pressure on Anderson. He's a master. He's got a bachelor's degree in psychology. He majored in it. He's not going to play Anderson. He's not going to play into Anderson's games, his mind games. None of that's going to happen. All that's going to happen is Chris is going to go out there. He's going to put the pressure on. He's not going to stand there. Shut the fuck up and stop laughing. For the first 2 minutes, he is going to beat Anderson Silva, and you will all be shocked, and it's going to happen, and fuck you all.
Really quick, but before King or Yao, Ramses, is there any way you sort of could go into detail on this weather machine? Because I'm very intrigued. I don't sort of want to
as am I, because
leave that topic.
Yeah, have you ever seen the movie Superman 3, the one with Richard Pryor?
I have. Superman 3, where Richard Pryor plays Superman, is my favorite Superman movie of all time.
Anyway, what they did was they were doing a form of cloud seeding, all right, people? That's the basic 101. When there are hurricane conditions, out there, they take advantage of that. You seed the clouds. What you do is you cause a little bit of tremor here and there, with the... They do have, they can detonate nukes at fucking 20 miles below the sea, all right, people? We won't ever feel the radiation because of the, the gravity and the directional forces. It's all underground or whatever. But they can cause seismic shifts in the Earth's tectonic plates. They can cause earthquakes in the middle of the ocean. They can actually add, like I said, they can detonate high temperature weapons in the atmosphere itself, heating it up along with the cloud seeding. Guess what? All of a sudden, tornadoes are just basic 101 for these people. Hurricanes are what they're really after. Tsunamis are, of course, the end-all, be-all. It's the next hydrogen bomb. That's what people are investing in. If you can cause a tsunami, guess what? You can get away with anything. You can take out an entire coast, make it right for invasion to the rest of the country. We're working on that, people. But Zuffa is, like I said, they had the prototype. They caused Hurricane Sandy. They needed this fight to happen between, they knew it was inevitable, but they needed fucking Weidman to take the dive. And that's the bottom line, people.
Yo, really quick, I'm going to throw out a few recent weather issues or, weather events, and I want to know whether or not Zuffa was behind them.
Sure.
Recent tornado in Moore, Oklahoma. Zuffa or non-Zuffa?
Yeah, Zuffa. They need to piss off Johnny Hendricks, give him a reason to just fight harder.
Wow. The earthquake and tsunamis in Japan.
Yeah, that was, some Zuffa versus Pride shit. The Yakuza, man, they had to bury the rest of them. That's how it went down. No problem.
Hurricane Katrina.
That was actually some fucked up shit with George W. Bush, and the Russians breathed down his neck. I forget what's his name, Putin and Fedor, dude. They were all in on that shit. It had to happen. Yeah, and honestly, I hate to say it, but it was one of George Bush doesn't care about black people. Kanye was right.
The current drought in Texas.
There is no drought, man. Look at me.
Oh, well, there was a month or two ago when I was up there. Yo,
swilling like a pig.
Finally, what about all these wildfires in the Rocky Mountains? Utah, Arizona, Colorado. That story out of Arizona was really tragic. You got wildfires all over. Is Zuffa causing wildfires too?
The Arizona shit, too soon. Word on the street.
Wow. All right, word on the street. That is the weather machine shit going on. Really quick, King Ying. We actually have a caller joining us who I'll introduce after King Ying and Yao go up. I'll keep it a secret. That's called a hook, ladies and gentlemen. You keep it a secret so they keep listening. King Ying, Yao, Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman. What are your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, just hold up real quick to touch on what Ramsey was saying. I know he was trying to be funny, I think, like crack jokes, whatever. But there really is a thing called HARP. 100%, no conspiracy, and they were doing it since the 60s, and it's not even conspiracy. Like there was parts of China and shit where they couldn't grow crops, so they fucking I'm not a scientist, but they wiggle, do something with the atmosphere, and then fucking poof, they produce rain. And this is a scientific fact. Wiggle, poof, whatever you want to fucking call it, they do it. It's 100% fact that HARP can manipulate the weather. It's 100% fact. It's documented where there's droughts and shit that can make rain. So that's a fact. And all right, moving on to Silva. Silva's going to murder. Word on the street. Whatever. Yeah, the motherfucking truth. But Silva's going to murder Weidman. I'm glad that Ross knows them personally so he can go and console the family after their loss. It's gonna be tragic. There's no way that Weidman wins this. They're hyping him up, giving him a whatever rally for the fucking troop, whatever you want to call it. Matt Serra isn't even going because he knows how embarrassing it's going to be. It's going to be, dude, Silva is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He will retire the GOAT. It's not even questionable. He's going to clown him. And anyone that says Chael Sonnen is a fucking retard. It's 100% documented fact. Obvious that Silva was going into that fight hurt. They have it on video months before they fucking even came out. His ribs were fucked up. So that's the, and Chael was, his levels were higher than, testosterone levels were higher than ovaries.
I want to see the X-rays. I want to see the X-rays.
Okay, look at the movie Like Water.
I've watched it. I can act like I got a broken rib.
No. Okay.
Honestly.
Dude, you could tell going in, he was limping going into that shit. Steven Seagal had to carry him on his back.
I do think he was injured. I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
And Chow was juiced to the fucking gills. 14-to-1 ratio, bro. That's some crazy
pile
shit.
Of shit I've ever heard.
Okay, listen, buddy. I know you can get your pom-poms out when I'm done and cheer for Chow. He got washed the second fight. He got washed by Jones. He's done. He'll get washed by Wanderlei. Nah, you got to find someone else to jump on.
You know who he's fighting, so obviously you know a lot about Chael.
Listen.
He's fighting Shogun, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
That's why you said the wrong guy.
Hey, man. I don't mean to ruin the parade here, but speaking the truth.
Look,
Silva Weidman, Silva Weidman's the topic, cocksucker.
Silva's going to murder Weidman and the debate.
Oh, man, I gotta say this, man. It's gotta be said. Hold on, King Ying, man.
Go ahead.
You had me, man. I believed in you. I thought you had credibility with the weather modification, the poom poom chang chang up in the air, man. But when you started railing on Chael, now you're just fucking crazy, man. Go ahead,
man.
Yeah, the truth. Yeah, there's truth.
All right, here it is. Anderson Silva's going to win, point blank.
Bang.
And I can't tell the future. I can't predict the future. But I just know that Anderson Silva is going to win. This fight is going to look like a kid trying to fight his dad. All right?
Yep.
It's really bad for, the people who have so much belief in Chris Weidman. And I feel bad for him, too. I'm actually a fan of his. But I know what he's up against on Saturday, and I can face the truth. I can face facts. I know what he's up against. And I know that he's going to look like, I'll give an example. Back at UFC 145, I'm a huge Rashad Evans fan. And I really wanted him to win that fight. But I can say right now, I knew he wasn't going to beat John Jones. And that's how real I am. I'm a fan of Chris Weidman. But I know what he's up against, and I know he's not going to win.
Yao the realist. It shouldn't be Yao the truth. It should be the realist, son. That's how real he is.
Yeah.
You have anything else? Yeah, all right. We got another caller, the original co-host of the show, Chris Lowe, calling in late notice. He was busy jerking some dude off in a back alley or something. Chris, what's going on first and foremost?
Yeah, hey guys.
All right, he is on the call. It's showing me he is on the call.
I'm actually talking to him, and he did say that he accidentally called the wrong person back. He's not on the call.
Oh, nice. Well, that's good to know, I guess. So we'll rule Chris out for the show. All right, I do want to talk a little bit more about Silva Weidman. If Anderson wins, which he is a big favorite, if he does win, Ross, so don't give me the he won't win line. Just hypothetically, if he wins, what's next for him? Does he fight again at middleweight? Does he go do a super fight with GSP if he can beat Hendricks? Super fight with John Jones? What's next for Silva if he wins? Ramses?
Yeah, I got the word on the street. When he wins, after he beats Chris Diveman, next thing for Anderson Silva is he's going to take on Michael Bisping. You heard it first right here. That is 100% confirmed, all right, people. It's a fucking not even triple source. It's trust me, that's what's going to happen next. I already know it. I'll bet anybody right now. Anybody want to take that bet right now? Come on.
Yes.
Speak up.
Yes.
What's up, Ross? Well, you're next to talk, Ross, so perfect segue.
Yo,
I actually...
I actually think
will
I added
take that
Chris back to the call. Chris, are you with us? Nope, I re-added him, but he's still not with us. That's good that he decided to answer the phone.
All right, listen.
Yeah, probably.
I will take that bet because there is absolutely no way they're going to put Bisping. Bisping is going to fight Costa Philippou in Manchester next in October. It's going to headline UFC on Fox Sports 4. That's what's going to happen, not that bullshit about Anderson versus Bisping in Manchester. Why the fuck would they do that after Vitor kicked his fucking head off? They wouldn't do that ever. What was even the question? What's next for Anderson if Anderson wins? If Anderson wins, the super fight against John Jones would be the best thing. Do I see it happening? Probably not. The Vitor rematch is more likely, maybe even on the end of the year card in December. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, what the fuck? You're slacking. Come on, son.
No, I thought King Ying was next, but yeah.
You son of a bitch.
You heard it from Ramses. He said Michael Bisping, 100% confirmed. That's the word on the street. Don't doubt it. That's who he's fighting after he beats Chris Weidman. Yeah, word on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dot.
Yeah, man. I think that he should fight Jones. I think that, yeah, but I don't think he'll ever fight GSP. I think GSP's afraid to, honestly. But I think he should fight Jones, man. I think that they're both more open to it now. If you listen to the interview and shit, the recent ones. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Word on the street. I got one more topic on this that I want to go over before we close out the 50th show. Simply put, what percent chance does Chris Weidman have to win this fight? Is it 0%? Is it 50%? Is it 10%? Personally, I give Chris a 20% chance to win. I think if they fight 10 times, Chris wins 2 out of the 10. I respect him. I think he and Sonnen are the best two guys that Silva's faced, at least in recent memory. But yeah, I have Silva winning this one 80% of the time. Ramses?
0% chance this fight is going to be a work, Anderson Silva.
All right, if it wasn't a work, if they were fighting heads up, who would win?
100% Weidman, but it's going to be a work. 0%.
Right.
Listen, one more thing. Look, I have it on good authority that they already deposited Anderson Silva's knockout of the night bonus 2 weeks ago. All right, it's over. Go ahead.
If you say there's a 0% chance, if anybody says there's a 0% chance for anybody,
there's a 0% chance.
All right, if you say there's a 0% chance, you're a fucking idiot because there's never a 0% chance in any fight, any time. No matter what, someone can always get knocked out at any moment. It's a fight. Anything can fucking happen.
So how many times, if Silva and Forrest Griffin fight 10 times, how many times does Forrest Griffin win? What's the percent there?
One,
who the fuck knows? But you know what? It's not 0. It's a 2%, maybe 10%, 5% chance.
If you throw in a baseball bat and some nunchucks, I'll let you get 5%. There's no way Forrest Griffin ever beat Silva ever.
What?
Probably not. But once again, he doesn't have a 0% chance. There's that slight, slim 1%, 2% chance that he can land a punch at any time and Silva drops. Anderson could have a fucking heart attack in the middle of the octagon and he can jump in and hit him with punches right then and there and the ref could stop the fight. You never fucking know. You never know. So you can never, ever, 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 ever say for any fight in any sport, any game of any kind in any sport, that someone has a 0% chance of losing because there's always
I would agree with you, but with Silva, it's a different game.
It's why they
really?
play the game.
Because Chonen didn't think that, and every other one was
dude, I know. I was just fucking with you.
Can I answer honestly for Ross?
Hold up. To be honest, I say that
King Ying
like
backing up in his tracks here.
No. I was fucking with him. I'm just saying that realistically, I'll give Weidman maybe a 30% chance. Maybe. That's being generous.
Let me tell you,
30,
Ross, man,
wow.
the way I'm looking at it. Go ahead. Yeah. 30?
I was just saying wow to that.
Continue.
Yeah, sorry, Ross. Look, the way I'm looking at it from my perspective, it's like you're asking me what are the chances of CM Punk having beaten The Rock. Do you understand me? It's rigged to me, dude. It's 0%, dude, and I stick by it.
Actually, the probability of CM Punk beating The Rock was actually kind of high because the plan was originally potentially to do CM Punk versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
You were looking like the reasonable one.
Shut the fuck up.
You lose this game. I give Weidman, as a fan, I give him a big percentage of winning. I think if you want to be realistic and go by the odds, sure, he's got like a 30% chance of winning. But I think he's going to take advantage of that 30%, and I think he's winning this fight.
Check yourself.
How do you think he's going to win?
Submission.
What round?
If he's smart, first.
What?
Well, think of it this way. You can't say what, because what's the smartest thing to do to beat Anderson? It's to
take him down.
Put pressure on him immediately and get it done as quickly as possible.
My only thing, the reason why I'm so confident is that, like, Wyman is a really good grappler. I'll give you that 100%. But his stand-up, he leaves his chin wide open, dude, and he comes in with his hands down below his chest, throwing sloppy-ass jabs and overright. If he does that with Silva, he's going to get fucked up. Bad.
His stand-up doesn't look like that right now in training. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, hitting pads, man, but it's different when you're hitting pads and swinging at the goat, the greatest.
He's sparring. He's sparring with boxers. Yeah. He's doing well.
All right.
Yeah, what's the truth?
Anything that's bullshit.
Yeah, what's the truth? God damn it!
Yeah.
This drop was labeled truth and lies, so I thought it'd be him saying truth or something, and I'd stop it, but that was bullshit. What's the truth? God damn it!
Well, the truth is, I gotta agree with Ross 100%. When it's a fight, anything can happen. Any and everything can and will happen. With, like, for me, I always give 50% to each fighter because anything can happen. That's fair and it's logical. A 50% chance to each fighter. And even going into this fight, there's still a 50% chance that either man could win. But what I'm saying is that, just repeating what I said earlier, Anderson Silva is going to win this fight. And I really feel bad for Chris Weidman. He's going to have to take that plane ride back to Long Island or wherever he's going, without the belt. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, he wanted this. This is what he wants. Oh, well, sometimes it doesn't work out. That's how it is. And then the other thing, I'm sorry, but everybody's saying, like, this is going to be like UFC 117 Part 2 or whatever, like saying Chris Weidman is like Chael's son in 2.0 or whatever. They're only saying that because of how Chael dominated Anderson Silva. Cheesy for me. Only because they're only saying it because of, Anderson's rivalry with Chael's son. I mean, if Chris Weidman were facing like John Jones or George St. Pierre, they wouldn't be saying, oh, he's Chael's son in 2.0. So that's kind of pissing me off too. I just had to get that out there.
Word. Well, I don't have anything further on the run sheet. Does anybody have anything else they wanted to talk about Silva Weidman or anything on UFC 162?
Hey. Smoke weed every day.
Fuck yeah. And with that, thanks for listening in to the 50th episode. We talked a little UFC. I got a DM from Kogan recently. The number he gave me was a typo. And we will have him on next week. I already asked him if he would be free next Wednesday. So we will be talking to Kogan next week. Maybe we'll know where Roy Nelson signed, whether it was with Bellator or the UFC. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Ramses, where do we find you on Twitter?
Follow me, what is it? Oh, the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. You're going to learn how to have sex with women, how to, fake that you're not a sociopath and survive in this society without people ever noticing. Word on the street.
Ross, where do we find you?
Follow the Jew at Ross Finkelstein on Twitter. E before the L, all Jewishly. You know what to do. Tomorrow, we're on, I don't even know. Maybe July 4th. Happy July 4th, motherfuckers. Weidman all the way.
Happy birthday, America.
God bless America. Yeah, fuck yeah. Yao, where do we find you? YAO_ the truth.
Yeah, you got it right. You can follow me on Twitter at Yao_ the truth. YAO_ the truth. And I'm just going to leave you with this. Do not bet your money on Chris Weidman. Thank me later.
Damn. What, Mogul, where do we find you at?
Yeah, you can follow my podcast, subscribe on YouTube / The MMA Moguls, or follow me at KingIng90.
Fuck yeah, and don't forget to follow MMA Mental and MMA Victor, MMAmental.com, Ray and Patrick. They're doing big things. I say it every goddamn week, motherfuckers. If you haven't gotten wise to it yet, then you're a dumb motherfucker. And you can listen to us at TheMMAPodcast.com, Twitter, The MMA Podcast. We do plan on having Swick on in the future. We were going to have Kogan on this week. We'll have him on next week, along with a slew of fucking guests. Enjoy UFC 162. I think we're going to be doing a post-fight podcast, so look out for that shit. There will be a word on the street at some point between now and the fight, and there will be July 4th, which is technically now, at least on the East Coast. God bless America. Light some fireworks, eat some barbecue, enjoy this country. If you know somebody who served, thank them for all this shit, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Can't wait for the next 50. We gone.
Ignorance, two clans fighting under the same banner. We all got love for this ground game, and that's all that matters. In the balance, the teachings of the Grand Master. I'm trying to master the system, that's what